welcome to our interview segment where we will be talking about developing the youth of today. Surrounded by negativity, school bullies, abuses at home, have we been overloading our youth with high expectations to a point of self-destruction? Malaysian government and agencies have been putting emphasis on shaping the younger generations who will one day take the helm in governing the country. But is that enough? Well, here to share with us on developing the youth of today's generation is none other than Mr. Eddie Lim, the CEO of Youth World Development. Hello, Eddie. How are you doing today?
Hi, Shasha. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for asking. All right, so before we go into all the other questions, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I guess, my name is Eddie. I guess the most interesting part about myself would be my involvement in sports. Well, I used to represent our country in sports, specifically Taekwondo. I was in the national team for about a good 4 years. And I've been to tournaments like the Olympics qualifiers, the World Junior Championships, the Asian Junior Championships, the SEA Games, So I've been in the sport for about I think 25 years. So I've enjoyed the majority of my life pretty much getting bashed up. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So can you tell us more about Youth World Development? What is it all about?
Okay. Well, about Youth World, we are basically a company that delves in youth development programs, primarily in academic development and also the personal development of youths. When we talk about the personal development of youths, we were talking about things like, for example, sometimes it's just a pure motivational program, team building. We may also be doing things like, for example, enhancing their public speaking skills. When we talk about the academic part of it, every year we have a PT3 and SPM seminar, which is meant to help them score better in their exams. And of course, subsequent to SPM, we also have an advisory service to help these students who are looking at pursuing their degree at a tertiary level, their education. So we also have that advisory service for youths as well. Yeah.
So what was the driving factor that got you to find this Youth World Development?
Well, that's actually a very interesting question. I would say it all stemmed from my involvement in sports, again, in Taekwondo, right? In fact, a lot of things that I'm doing today came from Taekwondo, because I still remember when I was 18, I started coaching when I was 18 years old. Okay. Yeah, I was pretty young, right? And at 19 years old, I still remember there was this one instance, one day, right? This parent, this mother of one of my students came to me, and she was basically crying. She was crying because she was actually telling me the problems of her son, okay, right? And thinking back, right, I think it takes a lot of guts and courage for a parent, because I was just 19 years old, to be honest, right? So it takes a lot of courage and guts for a parent to actually cry and tell you the honest truth about the kid, right? And I still remember this very, very vividly. That's 6 months after that, she came back one day, 6 months after that, she came back, and she was still crying. Well, I still remember that that time she wasn't crying because she was telling me the problems of her son anymore. She was actually crying because she was thanking me. Okay. Right, and that one moment, I think, is a moment that money can never buy, And then after that, I thought to myself, right, because when I teach Taekwondo, I don't believe in teaching students how to kick or how to punch. I basically believe in teaching them why they should continue punching or why they should continue kicking when everyone else beside them says, Eddie, I'm just so tired. The moment everyone sits down and they decide to do that extra one kick, that makes all the difference, right? So it's all about the values. And I was thinking, how do I actually reach out to students who don't do Taekwondo at all? So that's how Youth World started, because I wanted to reach out to more students, not just the students who are studying and who are just practicing Taekwondo under me, but just basically the mass. That's how it all started.
Amazing. Right, so I think it's obvious that you're trying to help youth these days, right? But what is actually the purpose and aim of the Youth World Development?
Okay, in Youth World, we aim to be a to create a platform, basically a platform for youths. We want to be the place for, that's our motto, to be the place for youths, whether it's for fun, for growth, for education, for even just work, you know. So that's where we want to, that's our vision, to just basically be the place for youths. Like for example, right, our hallmark event would be the PD3 and SPM seminar. Every year we've got thousands of students signing up, right? And it's an academic seminar, but we infuse a lot of element of fun into those seminars. You won't believe it. I've got this one sejarah teacher. You know, we're talking about sejarah, right? It's a dull, mundane subject. You know, and our seminars we can have 1,000 students, and this sejarah teacher will go on stage, and the one last student at the back will still laugh for the next 1 hour throughout his entire seminar. You know, yeah. Well, I still remember. You know, during my sejarah days, I would sleep like a lot.
Yeah,
right.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Right. But yeah, basically, we want to infuse fun into learning as well. Yeah.
Right. So I also understand that you're not only focusing on Malaysian youth, but you're also established yourself in Indonesia, Singapore, and China.
Well, basically, how we've got a presence there, it's not that we've done programs over there. It's just that because if you remember, we have this advisory service for students who would like to pursue their tertiary education. So what we've done is, you know, we've created this network with universities across the Asian, it's not just Asia, including, we're talking about also Australia, talking about UK, the ADP for American universities. So we've actually got this network of universities where if these students, they would like to pursue their tertiary education overseas, we will actually help them to apply, that's number one, to even get scholarships if possible. In fact, you know, there are a lot of scholarships that are available in the market, but a lot of students actually are not aware of these available scholarships. So we provide the advisory service to them to just basically let them know that, okay, this scholarship is actually available for you. Would you like this? If you would like to go to this university, we'll help you to enroll. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so Addie, we will continue with our interview after this, but right now we're going to take a look at our first tech crunch. Following up on Intel's recent buggy patches, the chip maker said it is working towards addressing the issue. Here's more, so let's take a look. Intel Corp said that recently issued patches for flaws in its chips could cause computers using its older Broadwell and Haswell processors to reboot more often than normal. It added that Intel may need to issue updates to fix the buggy patches. Nevin Shenoy, general manager of the company's data center group, said Intel had received reports about the issue and was working directly with data center customers to discuss the issue. Shenoy said it is working quickly with these customers to understand, diagnose, and address this reboot issue. If this requires a revised firmware update from Intel, Intel would distribute the update through the normal channels. The Wall Street Journal reported on Thursday that Intel was asking cloud computing customers to hold off installing patches that address new security flaws that affect nearly all of its processors because the patches have bugs of their own. The world's largest chip maker confirmed last week that the security issues reported by researchers in the company's widely used microprocessors could allow hackers to steal sensitive information from computers, phones, and other electronic devices. Intel shares were down about 0.5% to 171 ringgit and 53 cents in after-hours trading after the announcement. Intel shares have lost 4.5% since the news of the chip flaws emerged on January 3rd. It will soon be the last day of CES conference in Las Vegas. Many new technology were presented during the conference, and among them all were Virgin's very own Hyperloop One, which has been in the news for some time. Let's take a look.
Virgin Hyperloop One, the game-changing transportation system that will be able to hurtle passengers to their destinations at speed of up to 1,080 km per hour when complete, has released new details on how travelers will be able to plan, book and pay for their journey. Along with publicly unveiling their first-generation port XP1 at CES 2018 in Las Vegas this week, developers also released more details on the passenger experience, bringing the futuristic levitating port system one step closer to reality. Much like online booking apps that exist today, passengers will be able to plan, book and pay for their Hyperloop journey and book other modes of transportation such as public, private, ride-share like Lyft or Uber using a trip planning app. Customers will be able to choose options like fastest, cheapest and greenest route. Developed using HERE technologies, the real-time application will also feature end-to-end route navigation that includes indoor walking directions for negotiating large transit centers, venues, shopping centers and airports. The app will be made public this year. Developers also use CES as a platform to unveil to the public for the first time the port, which was used in the latest testing phase where it reached record speeds of 387 km per hour. CEO of Virgin Hyperloop One, Rob Lloyd, said it is giving the public a taste of what a Virgin Hyperloop One experience will be like by publicly unveiling its port and demonstrating how passengers will experience booking a Hyperloop trip from their pocket. Every hardware and software milestone brings it closer to commercializing Hyperloop. When complete, the Hyperloop system is meant to cut travel times drastically. A trip between New York and Los Angeles, for instance, is estimated to last 4.5 hours compared to 7 hours and 45 minutes by plane.
And now continuing on with our interview with Addie about developing the youth of today. All right, so Addie, my next question here, what does Youth World Development provides for the youth?
Well, at the moment, I would say our most well-known event will be what we call the Future of Success, PT3 and SPM series. It's basically a seminar targeted towards Form 3 and Form 5 students, helping them to prepare to basically just score better in their SPM and PT3. So every year we have this program, and this year is the same thing as well. We will be hosting it once again for this year. In fact, we'll have an entire campaign stretched from January until September this year. So we're going to have 9 months of campaign happening, basically to just help these students achieve better scores in their examinations. In fact, to be honest with you, there are a lot of organizers of this type of seminars out there, but we are probably the only organizer in this country who actually records the entire seminar live, because we noticed that students, upon returning home, no matter how good the teachers are, because seminars like this takes 8 hours, 10 hours every single seminar. So by the time they go home, they will probably forget most of the things that has been taught, right? So we've recorded it for these students, so that if they go home, if they've forgotten anything, or maybe during the seminar, they decided to go to the toilet, they pee for 2 hours. That's what the students do. They come back. If they missed an entire part, they don't have to worry. They'll be given a user ID. They can log in and they can rewatch the entire seminar. So that helps them in their memory. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So youth these days, they are very easy to be influenced by negativity, especially that affects their well-being. So what can they do to focus more on their development?
Oh, that's a very good question, right? Because I think I always tell people that we are the average of the 5 people who are closest to us. And I think this holds true especially for teenagers. Even for adults, it's the same thing, but for teenagers especially, I think it holds very true, right? So for me, for youths, it's important that they know who they are mixing with, because I'm pretty sure we've got this one friend in school who always say sometimes, Eddie, let's just skip school today. And you'll go I don't think that's a good idea. And then he goes are you sure? Abing and
Peer
Ali
pressure.
is following. And I say, oh, okay, on, let's go, jump.
Yeah.
We just tend to follow friends, and especially when it comes to teenagers, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that they mix with the right crowd. As long as they know who they're mixing with, I think it does make a lot of difference in their lives. Yeah.
Like the saying goes, you are who you surround yourself with, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges that youth these days face actually? Common challenges.
Well, from my experience with school students, I do realize and I do notice a decline in attention span. And I think that's probably due to social media, internet, because everything is just on their fingertips right now, right? And I think because they know that if I miss this lecture today, I don't really have to worry. I can go home, I can just Google it, and it will just pop up on YouTube, someone teaching me how to do this, So I think attention span is something that I would say, I wouldn't really say it's bad or good. We don't really have conclusive studies that I've read before, right? But I do find that the attention span is actually declining when it comes to the youth today.
Okay. So we all know that parents play a huge role in developing a child's lifestyle and stuff. So what is actually the role of a parent in the life of a growing child?
Again, a great question, right? I think parents, very, very important role. I mean, I am very thankful for my parents for allowing the opportunity to do so many things that I wanted to do in life. But having said that, I think that youth, they hold a responsibility to their own future. They need to know who they really are. Like for example, I'm thankful for my parents, but I'm also thankful that I didn't follow their advice when they say no taekwondo when I was so much younger, right? Yeah. So because the thing is, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I could achieve. And I knew what they were worried about. They were just worried that if I were to spend a lot of time in taekwondo, what if my studies would be affected? But the thing is, deep inside, I knew that it would not affect my studies. So if youths know what they really want to do, and they know what they can achieve, and they know what's their limitations, as long as they know, I think it's more important. So for me, is if they've got a dream that they want to do, I would say just do it. Don't listen to anyone's advice. So my advice to them is, now that's ironic, right? So I mean, yeah. So basically, if they've got a dream, just stick to it, do it, but just make sure they know what they're doing. Yeah, parents are important, but I wouldn't say they know everything. They will probably know a lot more things than us, but perhaps not everything sometimes. Yeah.
True. So last but not least now, other than that, are there any other events or programs you would like to highlight?
Well, basically, by the end of this year, every single year we have another program. It's called the Bright Scholars Program, where students who attend this program will be trained by one of our speakers. He is actually a very, very qualified and certified speaker. His name is Wesley, by the way. So these students who come to this seminar, basically they'll get to learn things like, for example, the art of public speaking. Okay. Yeah, because this seminar is basically to help them apply for scholarships, or let's say they want to go to a university. They don't really know. Since a kid, they want to be a doctor, but they're not really sure if medical studies is something that they really want. Now, this is the program for them. They can come and they will find out from this program. Yeah.
Like a foundation.
Yes. So we'll basically teach them a few things: public speaking, the art of power resume. How do they write the best resume so that when they apply for scholarships, the universities, they look at that resume. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 million ringgit.
Okay, amazing. All right, thank you so much, Eddie, for joining me on Talking Points.
Yeah,
that concludes our
it's
interview.
a real pleasure. Yeah.
All right, so now we will be taking a short break, and we will be right back after this.